Description: before Naruto appeared, the Namikaze family already had a daughter, Naruko. After her parents died, she and her brother were left completely alone. And her younger brother became for her the meaning of life in a village in which everyone hated them and forbade them to remember the past. Chapter 1. Kushina looked at herself in the mirror with concern. Minato came up to her from behind and kissed her on the cheek. "It's okay, let's go. Otherwise it will be bad for us if we are late, you know Sarutobi's wife." The man smiled and stroked his wife's big belly. "But Naruko is left all alone, she's smart, she won't disappear. I'm more afraid for Konoha." The fourth picked up a 4-year-old girl with big blue eyes and golden hair. "Naruko, you won't do anything, will you? Mom, you are following my brother, right?" Naruko reached out to her mother and touched her hair. "Yes. So try not to go into the kitchen, but rather practice folding your things neatly." Uzumaki kissed her daughter on the cheek. "Minato, well, we're going." Minato lowered the girl to the ground and ruffled her hair. "Behave yourself." Going outside, Minato took Kushina by the hand. "Still, it seems to me that leaving her alone was not the best idea. Minato, she is already 4 years old, and she has taken after me and mine. So don't worry." The woman put her hand on her stomach. "Now I'm a little worried about our son." "Everything will be fine, I'm nearby." The fourth nodded to a couple of shinobi who passed by. "Moreover, Biwako herself will personally deliver the baby." "It seems to me that you are reassuring yourself, not me." Kushina grinned. "Oh, here comes Biwako-sama." Naruko was sitting on the floor at a small table and, sticking out her tongue with zeal, wrote, "Welcome," on a piece of paper with an orange pencil. Despite the fact that she had never even seen her little brother, she already loved him more than anything in the world. The little girl was already imagining how she would train him, how they would go on missions together, and how he would become Hokage, following the example of his father, and she would carry out the most difficult missions with him. And in the end they will become famous throughout the shinobi world, and Mom and Dad will be proud of them. Naruko smiled widely and held out the paper with the clumsy letters in front of her, appraising her work. In her opinion, it turned out simply masterpiece. Naruto, which is what her parents decided to name her brother, will be delighted, although he will not understand anything. The girl even somehow put away the scattered toys in her room and decided to look into the room next door. Naruto will live here. Here, next to the window, is a beautiful wooden bed, and funny toys are hung above it. Mom did everything herself, Dad just carried and installed. Naruko wandered around the house a little more, but she didn't want to go outside, she only thought about Naruto. Kushina always told her that if she slept, time would pass faster. The little girl snuck into her father's office, climbed into his chair and laid her head on the table. There was a photograph on the corner. It showed Minato beaming with happiness, a gloomy Kushina and Naruko, all dirty, but happy. That day, Minato taught his daughter how to climb trees. Naruko remembered her father's frightened look for a long time when her mother came to the training ground. Her daughter, all dirty, in torn clothes, collapsed on the cold ground and could barely breathe from fatigue. And Daddy sat next to me and explained how best to throw shurikens. Naruko didn't even notice how her eyes began to close. She fell asleep. "Naruko! Naruko, let's go!" The father's hand pulled the girl out from behind the table and dragged her somewhere. Naruko wasn't quite awake yet, but she ran after Minato. "Dad? What is it? Where is Naruto? Stay with him. Clear? I'll be right back." The fourth literally pushed his daughter into the room. The little girl looked back, but her father was no longer there. Immediately her attention was drawn to something moving and snoring in her brother's crib. Naruko slowly moved towards the object of the sound, imagining herself to be a real shinobi. Her heart beat faster with excitement when the girl saw a child in the crib, moving his arms and legs with enviable energy, staring at the ceiling in surprise. "Naruto?" The baby groaned and turned his head to Naruko. She batted her eyelashes and extended her hand to the boy through the wooden partition. Naruto winced, frowned sternly, and opened his mouth. Naruko recoiled as he began to cry. "Naruto! It's me, your older sister. Naruko ran for a stool, placed it in front of the crib, stood on it, and was able to hang herself over the partition. Look! She touched her brother's tiny hand with her finger, and he immediately squeezed his finger and stopped crying. Wow, you! Suddenly there was a bang from behind. Naruko jerked in surprise, leaned forward and miraculously did not fall on Naruto, but managed to somehow somersault over him. Mother! The girl saw her pale mother in Minato's arms. What's wrong with you? The fourth laid his wife down next to his son and daughter. Kushina smiled. Naruto. Naruto. You're okay. She stroked her daughter's head and put her hand on her son. Tears rolled from her eyes, but she pursed her lip and smiled. Dad! What's happening? Naruko stood up. Minato lowered his eyes and clenched his hand into a fist, then silently walked to the closet and opened it. Minato. Thank you, Kushina whispered. Good luck to you. Naruko began to cry, not understanding what happened. The fourth quickly put on his Hokage cloak. I'll be back soon. Naruko lay down next to Naruto and stroked her mother on the shoulder. Mom, why are you crying? Why are you? Kushina smiled again through force. I'm happy that everything is fine with you and Naruto. Where did Daddy go? The house suddenly shook. Somewhere in the distance, on the street, a terrible roar and human screams were heard. The habanero's eyes widened in horror. She hugged her children to her. Everything will be fine, Daddy, and I love you so much. Naruko almost calmed down and fell asleep while her mother stroked her hair, but a crash and rumble, and then the feeling of Daddy's strong hand woke up the girl. She looked back in horror and saw that their house had been destroyed to the ground. My drawing! Naruko ran towards the house, but Minato pulled her towards him and looked at her sternly. Naruko, please take care of yourself. I can still do this, Minato. Kushina fell to her knees. Naruko didn't have time to see the rest. Her father put his hand to her forehead, and now she was already in some clearing, all alone. The girl looked fearfully at the sky, then around, saw some destroyed building, pulled her legs under her and began to sob. It later turned out that Minato and Kushina died, but saved the village and its inhabitants. Naruko was able to see her brother only a few days later, after her parents' funeral. And then there was a nightmare in the form of life in an orphanage for up to 10 years. Chapter 2, Naruto. Come here. A 16-year-old very pretty girl was waving a ladle in a small kitchenette. I won't eat your soup. You won't eat your instant ramen. Naruko threw the ladle onto the table with a crash and headed into the next room. Naruto! Nei-chan! The blonde boy drawled, frantically hiding his favorite ramen under the table. You're tired, why do you need to cook soup? Moreover, so no one will marry you! Naruto stuck his tongue out at Naruko and giggled disgustingly. You won't find yourself a wife, little one. And your Sakura doesn't look at you at all. Only I love you, little fool. Clear? So quickly go have a normal lunch. The girl pointed towards the kitchen. You already have problems with your stomach. It's all because of your soup. Naruto winced. I'm better off at Ichiraku. How are things at the academy? What's with the soup? Naruto dashed past his older sister, and a second later he was sitting at the table. So you've messed up some things again? What are these bruises on your arms? Did you fight again? Naruko placed a plate in front of the boy. Naruto, if someone offended you. No! I'll hit anyone I want. Naruto began to eat the soup. Well, at least this time it doesn't make me sick. You have your first exam tomorrow. Naruko poured herself some juice. Are you ready for it? How are your clones? Naruto reached for the bread. At the highest level. Best in class. What are you talking about? You love me, so you won't scold me. Besides, I will definitely receive a bandage tomorrow. You'll come, won't you? Everyone's families will come. Naruko lowered her gaze. Naruto, you know. Tomorrow I have an important mission, it's clear, as always. The smile disappeared from Naruto's face, and he began to slowly take in the soup. You never come. Naruko blinked. Are you offended? No, of course not. Naruto puffed out his cheeks, pushed the plate away, and left the table. I'll go for a walk, I'm with you. The girl caught up with her brother and hugged him to her. Since you're not offended, then let's go to the training ground. She kissed Naruto on the cheek and he grumbled. On the street, people looked askance at the brother and sister, but Naruko did not seem to pay any attention to it. Naruto walked next to his sister. Listen, Naruko. Why does everyone hate us so much? Who hates? The girl looked around. Hello, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi, passing by, stopped and looked thoughtfully at Naruko. Ah. Hello? So, Naruto, how are you doing? Tomorrow he has his first exam. The girl smiled and tucked a strand of hair that had escaped from her ponytail behind her ear. Well, I wish you good luck. I have to go. Hatake put his hands in his pockets and left. Naruto smiled sarcastically and narrowed his eyes slyly. Again, you're showing off in front of him. He stuck his tongue out at his sister and, in order not to get slapped on the head, ran away. Now you can make an agreement with me. Let's go. Toad. The younger Uzumaki rushed to run away, pushing people aside. Well, come here. Naruko ran after her brother. They ran all the way to the training ground. Then the girl caught Naruto and started squeezing him. He resisted as best he could. No. No, just don't kiss me. Just not the cheek. I'm going to be sick. Naruko. Ugh, so disgusting. Naruko kissed her brother on the forehead and pinched his hand. This is for a toad. They didn't even notice that they were not alone on the site. Also at the training ground were Guy and Lee. Naruko became quiet and whispered. It seems that now we will receive a charge of the power of youth. Might noticed them and immediately spoke loudly. Oh. And these are two young creatures who came here to test their strength and skills. Tomorrow is the exam. Naruto took his sister's hand and looked from under his brows at Lee, who stopped doing push-ups and walked up to his teacher. Hello, Naruko, Naruto. Lee extended his hand forward with his thumb raised up. If you want, let's train together. No, thank you. Naruto shook his head and backed away. Naruko, let's go. Without having trained, they returned home in the evening. Naruto was gloomy and sad, and Naruko was upset by this. The boy was sitting on the sofa and drinking tea when she sat down next to him. Why didn't you want to talk to Lee? They all hate us. How are we different from them? And where are our mom and dad? Naruko sighed and patted her brother on the shoulder. Naruto, I don't remember. A lump of resentment rose in her throat, but she could not violate the order of the third. Okay, it doesn't matter who they are. But, as you asked, I will become Hokage, and then they will run away from me. You should take the exam tomorrow. When are you leaving on a mission? Naruto put the cup on the table and laid his head on his sister. Now, soon already? But I will try to return as quickly as possible. Some documents need to be delivered. Urgently. Naruko began to comb through her brother's hair. Naruto, no one in this village loves anyone the way I love you. Do we need to do something again? No, just don't be offended by me. You must understand that the life of a shinobi. I understand, don't worry. It's just. I used to want you to walk with me by the hand, pick me up from the academy or from the playground. So now you don't want to? The girl smiled and sighed, bending her leg under her. Oh, well, you're quite an adult, of course. Why does everyone look at us like that? At first I thought there was something wrong with my face, but that's not the case. And you don't have girlfriends. Naruto pulled away from his sister and looked away. Naruko put her hand to her forehead and clicked her tongue. You're just making this up. But what you did at the academy? Maybe it's because you were always a hooligan. I cannot devote enough time to your upbringing, and you yourself resist. Who do you communicate with there? The same renegade as you, Kiba and the rest. And then you start coming up with who knows what. Do you love Kakashi-sensei? Naruto jumped off the couch and stuck his tongue out at his sister. Naruko fell into a stupor for a few seconds, but then grabbed a pillow and threw it at the boy. Nothing like that. Well, that's it, now someone will get it. The fight did not last long. Naruto was caught on his way to the bathroom and squeezed. Naruko tickled him. I only love you! I'm not little anymore. Naruko, Chapter 3. Naruto sat on the swing in front of the academy with his head down. Complete failure. The boy was angry both at himself and at Iruka. It seems that the teacher always disliked him, and today he was finally able to annoy him. Of course, Naruto understood that his results were indeed below average, but Iruka-sensei could have been understanding. Naruto looked up to see a crowd of happy children and their parents standing outside the building. Everyone had bandages and smiles on their faces. Uzumaki sighed when he heard the not very pleasant dialogue between two women about him. Suddenly he shouted and jerked in surprise when two arms grabbed him from behind, and Naruko laid her head on his shoulder. I'm back! I'm a little late. Well, where's your bandage? The out-of-breath girl kissed her brother on the cheek. Naruko! Naruto blinked slowly and wanted to smile, but stopped. I failed the exam. What? Naruko pulled away from her brother and looked around the crowd at the academy. Who took it? Iruka-sensei. But he has nothing to do with it, sister. That's it, Yumino. Iruka, it's me now. Wait for me here, Naruto. Naruko, raising her legs high, stomped towards the academy. No need. Stop, Naruko. Naruto ran after his sister, but he was stopped by the looks of people. They looked at the disheveled Naruko with contempt, whispered among themselves, and took the children aside. And the girl, knitting her eyebrows and muttering something under her breath, walked confidently towards the entrance. Naruko hasn't been to the academy since she graduated. Iruka had been her teacher for only a short time, just the last 6 months, because as soon as he came to the academy, he was a 19-year-old green boy. The girl was beside herself with rage. And when she saw Yumino come out of the office, she immediately rushed towards him. Iruka-sensei. Oh, Naruko, Iruka locked the door. Explain why you left Naruto at the academy? The girl grabbed the teacher's sleeve. What did he do wrong? Why? What did we do wrong? The man looked at the girl in confusion. Naruko, I know perfectly well who you are, so it's not a matter then why. You know how hard it is for him. Yes, I understand. And I don't want him to die. His skills are not enough yet, give him a second chance. Let me finish, Naruko. Iruka removed the girl's hand from himself and walked over to the windowsill. Calm down. I am responsible for my students. Naruto is not ready to become a shinobi. He still has a lot to learn. He's a really nice guy, but he's a blockhead. Naruko took a deep breath and exhaled, then looked contemptuously at the sensei and nodded. I understand everything. You didn't really like me either. You all. Naruko, don't talk nonsense. Iruka smiled. You are a beautiful girl. What does this have to do with Naruto's failure? You could help him, he's all alone, I'm always on missions. Naruko managed to pull herself together. Naruto told me that you are a good teacher and you only scold for things. I thought he hated me. Because he does things every day, and I scold him every day too. But my personal attitude towards him and the exams are in no way connected. Naruto is a good boy, but you should pay more attention to him. So you will give him a second one? No, Naruko. Iruka shook his head negatively and turned around to leave. Naruko slowly took out a kunai from her hip pouch and, catching up with the teacher, put the weapon against his back. If you, Naruko, you know, Iruka. The secret scrolls have been stolen. A full-bodied academy teacher appeared in the corridor in front of the couple. The third one gathers everyone. Naruko shushed with annoyance and put away the kunai. Iruka looked at her over his shoulder. Let's go. Did you hear what he said? Everything inside Naruko fell when they found out that Naruto had stolen the scrolls. Her peers immediately approached her. Well, what, beauty? So your brother showed himself. The lanky guy put his arm around Naruko's shoulder. And now what I can do? We'll probably have to kill him. Or I can change my mind if you come to see me at night. You are a beauty, we still need to look for others. Naruko felt tears welling up in her eyes, and she couldn't answer this guy. She fell into a stupor. Meanwhile, the guy's hand slid along his waist, but someone intercepted it. Go to your team. And tomorrow morning I will talk to you. I'll talk seriously. The boy recoiled and hurried away. The girl turned around and saw Shikaku, the head of the Nara clan. He smiled guiltily. It seems your brother will become a good ninja. He patted Naruko on the shoulder. Fooled all the guards. In truth, the techniques in those scrolls are not mortally dangerous, so the maximum that your brother will get is a scolding from the Hokage and a slap on the head. Do not worry, everything will be alright. Shikaku-san. Thank you. Naruko secretly wiped away her tears. Stay here, Naruko. And stop crying, it doesn't suit you at all. The man left. Naruko was not accepted into any squad, and therefore, when all the groups dispersed, she was left standing on the side alone. A third person came up to her from behind and put his hand on her shoulder. Naruto reminds me of Kushina, but he's still Naruto. And you, Naruko, are also just you. I know you hate Konoha, what? The girl turned to the Hokage. Sarutobi-sama, what are you saying? I love this village. The third one shook his head with a smile and raised the phone to his lips. I hope I see the moment when you fall in love with the people of this village. After all, they are Konoha. You are a good girl, and so is your brother. Help Naruto, you are the big sister. Yes, I love him. But he will get it from me for the scrolls. Naruko smiled. Chapter 4. Naruko cried all night without stopping. Naruto appeared at home in the morning, sneaked into the bedroom and lay down next to his sister, without taking off his dirty clothes. The girl was fast asleep, so she did not notice the return of her younger brother. When Naruko opened her eyes, the first thing she wanted to do was hit the blonde top of her head, snoring peacefully at her side. But then she saw the bandage Naruto was holding tightly in his hand and smiled, quickly wiping away the tears that had come out. She stroked her brother's cheek and kissed his forehead, then stood up from the bed and put her hands on her hips, looking at the boy. Changing his clothes turned out to be not the easiest task. Although he didn't wake up, he was fidgeting and kicking his legs terribly. When the job was done, Naruko took his dirty clothes to the laundry and headed to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. Today is her brother's important day, the day of assignment to teams. It was 6 o'clock, and distribution began at 8. Naruko put on an apron and looked into the refrigerator. Not a lot. She smiled insidiously, already thinking of a punishment for her brother. Naruto woke up at 7 o'clock to a delicious smell. At first he was afraid to go into the kitchen, but then he finally decided to do it. Holding a bandage in his hand and guiltily lowering his eyes, he appeared at the door. Good morning, Naruto. Naruko carried 2 plates to the table and set them down. Come here. Uzumaki Jr. stared at his older sister. No, I'm already wearing a bandage. Morning kiss. Naruko pulled the boy towards her and hugged him, then squatted down in front of him and bit him on the cheek. How delicious you are to me. But an even tastier breakfast awaits you. Sit down. What, you won't even yell? Sit down, my beloved brother. Naruto's face twisted in disgust when he saw that there were only greens on his plate, and mostly his least favorite salad. Naruko sat down opposite him and began to eat ramen on both cheeks. The boy swallowed. Naruko, What's the matter? Come on, until you eat, you won't leave the table. Just give me a slap. Naruto fell with his head on the table and pushed the plate away from him. I don't want to scold you. Let's assume that this was a lesson for you. But how did you get the headband? I learned a super cool technique, and now I can create clones. Iruka-sensei, it turns out, recognized me, can you imagine? And why did you call him an asshole? He is such a good person. You eat. Naruto sighed and accepted the punishment, reaching his hand towards the vegetables. Naruko was waiting for her brother near the academy. The distribution was just underway. My soul was somehow uneasy. People around me looked askance at the girl, but did not dare say anything. Naruko! Hana Inuzuka, her only friend with whom she communicated more or less well, approached the girl. And you're here? Hana! Naruko waved her hand and smiled. I heard that Naruto made our lazy people run around yesterday. It's okay, sometimes they need a shake-up. Inuzuka smiled. Where is Nenki? He usually hangs around next to you. Don't remind me. Naruko lowered her eyes. Did you pester me again? I saw yesterday how he tried to hug you, but I didn't have time to do anything because my mother called me. Got lost? Where would I go? Naruko chuckled. And what can he do against me? Hana shook her head. Naruko, you're not changing. By the way, I hope you didn't scold Naruto too much? No, why? He punished himself. Now all that remains is to wait to see what kind of sensei they will give him. I hope it won't be Gai-sensei. Well, I don't know. It seems to me that Naruto would be delighted with such an energetic teacher. But my idiot will probably end up on a team with the same hooligans. Yes, this will be an interesting episode. Hana waved her hand and went to her mother. A crowd of happy children flew out of the academy. Naruto rushed ahead of everyone. Naruko, I'm on the same team as Sakura-chan. Naruko hugged her brother as he ran up and stroked his head. Who's the third? And who is your sensei? I'm their sensei. And the third is Sasuke Uchiha. Kakashi slowly approached the company, followed by Sasuke and Sakura. Naruko got nervous, frantically tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and giggled. Oh, that's how it is. Naruto, you're lucky. Hello, Sakura. Sasuke-chan, how are you? The girl ruffled Sasuke's hair. You're so cool. And so he grew up. The Uchiha clicked displeasedly and shook his head, and Naruto looked at him with jealousy. Kakashi smiled. Naruko, now your brother has another exam. I hope it will pass without incident. The girl closed her eyes. Me too. Naruto, who had previously been clinging to his sister's thigh, stepped aside. Sasuke secretly looked at Naruko. Ah, Naruto, there you are! Iruka-sensei! Uzumaki rushed to his former teacher. I'm glad that you got into Kakashi-sensei's team. Yumino turned his gaze to Naruko. Hello, Naruko. The girl suddenly felt ashamed of yesterday's conversation with Iruka. She lowered her eyes. Hello. Meanwhile, Naruto was already sorting things out with Sasuke behind his sister's back. During an unsuccessful attempt to push the Uchiha, he ran into Naruko, and she, in turn, staggered and fell on Kakashi. He caught her by the waist with one hand, and the other accidentally rested against her. The Uzumaki screamed. Naruto didn't just scream, he screamed and rushed at his new teacher with his fists. Kakashi-sensei. What are you allowing yourself? While the student was kicking Kakashi's legs, he hastily put Naruko in a vertical position and shook his hands. Iruka intelligently turned away and fixed his gaze on the sky, and Sakura and Sasuke did not even notice what had happened, and therefore looked blankly at the red teacher and the evil one Naruto. Naruko pulled her brother away by the hand. Naruto! Be careful! You pushed me! People around began to turn around more often and look at Uzumaki with contempt. Naruko slapped herself on the forehead. Oh, forgive him, Kakashi-sensei. If you touch my sister again, Naruto hissed in pain because his sister pinched his shoulder. Well, Hataki couldn't find the right words. Chapter 5. About 2 months passed. And every day Naruto became less and less talkative, although before every now and then he complained about Sasuke team and admired Sakura. After the exam and the attack on Konoha, Naruto began to be recognized little by little, and Naruko was extremely happy when Kakashi once hinted to her that her brother had the makings of becoming a good shinobi. And then one evening, when Naruko returned from a mission and decided to cook dinner, something pleasant and unexpected happened at the same time. Naruto came home late at night, but happy. He flew into the kitchen, almost knocking his sister off her feet, and hugged her. Naruko, I need to introduce you to the old one. We met him during the exam, and then together we brought Sunade Ba-chan, but only now he agreed to come, I asked. A tall, gray-haired man entered the room. He smiled when he saw Naruko. Oh, so this is who Naruto persuaded me to teach him. How you have grown, little Naruko. Jiraiya approached the girl and hugged her, whispering in her ear. Sorry. Naruko put her hands on her hips and thoughtfully looked at the two who had come. Then she frowned, and you? Who, excuse me? Jiraiya exhaled in surprise and made a sad face. You don't remember me at all? No, and why did Naruto call you? Little sister, you can't even imagine what he's like. Just creepy. I spied on the girls at the springs and then. Jiraiya waved his hands, trying to drown out Naruto, and he turned into you to seduce me. And they say that this is not the first time he has used your image. It looked quite funny how a respectable man and a child were yelling at each other and making excuses. I seem to remember you. Jiraiya OG-san. Naruko's face brightened and she smiled. You came to my birthday once. Jiraiya disconnected from the outside world and withdrew into himself, slouched and dejectedly muttering, "Ol." And now also Aji-san. Why? Yes? Why don't I remember this? Uzumaki Jr. frowned. Because it was a long time ago. Naruko sighed. Now, Naruto. She gave her brother a good slap on the wrist. Explain to me why you turned into me? Naruto chuckled guiltily and hid behind the newly minted teacher. Jiraiya looked around the kitchen. It's so clean here. I haven't been to such clean places for a long time. It's immediately obvious that a girl lives here. Maybe I should have a woman in the house too? Naruko? The man stroked Naruto on the head. Don't lie, you don't have a home. You constantly hang around the world and write little books. Naruko pointed to the table. Sit down. I remembered you. It is not true. Jiraiya noticed that Naruto ran off to wash his hands. Naruko, how much you look like your father. But you clearly have your own shape. This is probably some kind of gene mutation. The girl hit Jiraiya with a ladle. Sannin groaned. But I was so worried about you. Thank you, Grandpa Jiraiya. Naruko hugged the man. But what did you forget in Konoha? There is one little thing. I've been here for a long time, I was just afraid to come to you. Naruto learns quickly, he is his father's true son. When are you going to tell him the truth? When the time comes, he will find out everything himself. Naruko walked away to the stove. Take a seat. Thank you for transferring money all these years, it helped us a lot. But you remain old. What was this performance with a memory loss? I already believed that you had forgotten me. Jiraiya sat down at the table. Naruto knows better than to know anything. The girl took off her apron. What a beautiful girl you have grown up to be, Naruko. Jiraiya rested his cheek on his hand. If you think that I will forgive you, don't even hope. But it's Naruto's fault. I didn't force him to transform. Naruko, I think he needs serious training. What do you have in mind? The girl poured tea. I think he should come with me. He needs this. Naruto ran into the kitchen. Well? Where's my dinner? Today he simply exhausted me with his tedious chatter. The boy sat down next to his sister. Where is your dinner? Naruko knitted her eyebrows. You used my face in the henge, and not only my face. Jiraiya noted, sipping tea. I understand everything. Naruto hurried to get up from the table and take care of himself. To be honest, I don't know much about what Naruto has achieved in recent months. All I have time to do is wash his clothes and feed him. And then the mission, or he runs away himself. Naruko looked at her younger brother eating rice. I hope he learned not only copy me? Oh no, I also learned a new technique, Harem no Jutsu. This is a combo, Naruto, chew more carefully. Jiraiya buried his student's nose in the plate, thereby using the emergency gag technique. Naruko looked at the Sannin with suspicion. He chuckled nervously. Naruto is succeeding in chakra control, he's also improved his taijutsu. And, by the way, how are things going with our Naruko's suitors? Jiraiya sighed with relief when Naruko laughed embarrassedly. Naruto doesn't let anyone near me. He's probably jealous. Naruto muttered dissatisfiedly. Here's another thing. All sorts of boobies just creep in. When I grow up, I'll get married. Jiraiya choked and coughed, wiping the tea from his chin. Naruko was embarrassed and laughed. Chapter 6. For 3 long years, Naruko lived alone, waiting for her brother to return. Much has changed. She became even more feminine and strong, and began to more or less get along with her partners and the general population of Konoha. Life was getting better, and the day of Naruto's return was approaching. He returned in the morning while Naruko was still sleeping. Throwing his bag on the floor, the guy crept up to the sleeping woman and sighed. Nothing in this room had changed, but it seemed to Naruto that the mirror had become lower and now reflected not only the top of his head, and he himself would be able to get something out of the closet without difficulty. Uzumaki took fresh things out of his backpack, because everything that was at home was already too small for him, and went into the shower. Coming out, he found Naruko still sleeping. Naruto learned to cook well during all his training and travels with Jiraiya, but when he saw a package of ramen in the corner of the table, he immediately began to look for a teapot. After eating, the guy leaned back in his chair and put his hands on his stomach. He heard Naruko shuffling her bare feet on the floor and smiled. Seeing her brother, Naruko first covered her mouth with her hands and inhaled sharply. When he stood up, she threw herself on his neck. You're back. How you've grown. And what about your clothes? Wow. All new. What an adult you have become. The girl began to kiss her brother. Naruto smiled and hugged Naruko to himself. How I missed you. You can't imagine how much Jiraiya is a sensei. Naruto. Naruko stepped away from her brother and looked him up and down. You've become taller than me. Well, yes, Naruto scratched the back of his head. How I love you. The girl again hung on her brother's neck, burying her nose in it. Naruto swallowed. Naruko, that's enough. Naruko pulled away from him and looked into his eyes. I even look up to you now. No, give me back my little Naruto, who couldn't resist. I haven't touched you for 3 years. Kakashi looked out the window. Naruto. Have you forgotten that there is training tonight? Of course not, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto took his sister off of him. Training? You've just returned and already you're training again? Kakashi-sensei. The girl pulled a short t-shirt over her legs. Maybe put it aside. Hatake coughed and turned away. Naruto exhaled and went to the sink. Naruko, you always wash the dishes before. What kind of mountain is this? Don't touch it. Don't touch, I'll wash it. You're tired, go to bed to rest. Naruko took Naruto away from the sink and directed him towards the exit. The guy shrugged his shoulders and, leaving, waved to the teacher. See you in the evening, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi mumbled something incomprehensible and jumped from the windowsill. And how do you like Naruto? From a cutie he turned into a big Naruto. Now I won't drag him around anymore. Naruko turned on the water. How he's grown up, Naruko, you've grown up too. Kakashi muttered, looking away. You're already 20. Well, life is starting to get better, so everything is fine. Naruko wiped the plate with a towel and put it on the top shelf of the cabinet. Do you need something, Kakashi-sensei? No, I have to go. The man climbed onto the windowsill and went out through the window. By evening, Naruto left, as promised. He returned in the middle of the night, noisily taking off his shoes in the hallway and throwing his jacket past the chair. Naruko sat in the room and read some scrolls. How was the training? I made Kakashi-sensei together with Sakura. This time we got the bells. You! Why are you so dirty? Naruko jumped out of bed and grabbed her brother by the hem of his pants. Naruto! I'll wash it myself, don't worry. No, I'll wash it. Okay, I'll take a shower. Naruto shrugged and left. Naruko lay down in bed and turned off the light. Naruto, coming out of the shower, tripped over his slippers in the dark, almost fell and finally ended up in bed. Naruko. Listen, I was thinking. I probably need a separate bed. It's already hard for the two of us to fit in this one, besides. Naruto, don't be stupid, the girl whispered. Lie down. I'd rather be on the floor. Uzumaki Jr. wanted to slide to the floor, but Naruko pulled him onto the pillow by the neck and laid her head on his. How I miss you. Finally, I won't be afraid to sleep. Naruko, I'll still go and buy myself a mattress tomorrow. You can sleep on the bed. I remember someone promised to marry me. Naruko put her hand on the guy's shoulder. Naruto caught his breath from embarrassment. Oh. It was a long time ago. And it's wrong, I'm kidding, stupid, calm down. Just be there. I love you. And I you. Chapter 7. Naruko will remember this evening for the rest of her life. Her brother, all wounded, stumbles into the house and falls unconscious. My heart skipped a couple of beats, creating silence that was gradually filled with the squeaking of something nasty in my head. The girl throws a basket of laundry on the floor, screams in fear, falls to her knees next to Naruto, and tries to rouse him. Everything happens painfully slowly, as if in a terrible dream. The girl did not sleep all night, sitting by her brother's bed in the hospital, who walked home with a cheerful gait and, as soon as he opened the door, lost consciousness. I didn't want to scare people. Naruto turned to the window, overcoming a dull pain in the back of his head. So you wanted to scare me? Naruko sobbed and laid her head on Naruto's shoulder, crying quietly. The guy was already scratching his soul, and now his sister was crying. He never knew how to calm Naruko down. Even as a child, he could only calm her tears by doing some prank, for which Naruko was simply obliged to scold him and was distracted from her sorrows. And now he didn't know what to do. So Naruto simply silently placed his hand on the back of the shuddering girl's head and sighed. You always, Naruko sobbed, upset me. Well, but I love you. Naruto said this while exhaling and closed his eyes. Lately, these words have become increasingly difficult for him. As a child, he told Naruko every day how much he loved her. Now it seemed somehow stupid, awkward to say such a thing. And you, Naruko raised her head. Do you love me very much? Naruto wanted to swear and express his opinion about women's stupidity, but something trembled inside when Naruko intertwined her gentle fingers with his, so rough and shabby. This girl was the meaning of his life, his support and light. But how annoying she was with her tenderness and treating Naruto like a child. The words love, love were clumsy and childish for Naruto now. Why is she asking him this? What kind of scar do you have? He wasn't here before. Naruko began to examine her brother's palm. Yes, you have a whole set of new scars. What did I tell you about this? If I hurt him, I'll run to you, you'll apply the ointment, and there won't be any scars. Naruto mumbled like a 5-year-old boy. But I know. But we haven't completely gotten rid of your scar on your knee yet. And we will treat this overwork of yours with rest and sunshine. Naruko clapped her hands. By you, or what? Naruto grinned. Naruko, everything is fine with me, stop babysitting, stop. But it's up to me to decide. He's fine. And on his neck. What kind of garbage is this? Naruko pulled the collar of her brother's jacket. Is this a hickey? Where is it? Naruto asked, removing his sister's hands and looking in the mirror on the nightstand. Yes, that's it. Naruko pointed a painful finger at her neck. Naruto! Nothing happened, these are enemy shinobi. They sucked my energy. Here, look. There are still a couple of hickeys here. Naruko was offended. I was very offended. Because Naruto lied to her. She didn't cook food, didn't wash his things, didn't meet him, didn't see him off, or even talk to him. Naruto denied it to the last, and still tried to justify himself every time Naruko appeared nearby, giving him a contemptuous look. Then he cracked, saying that he had something to do with a kunoichi from another village during a mission. This infuriated Naruko even more, and she began to completely ignore her brother. On the other hand, she understood that he was already 20, he was a war hero, an idol of shinobi for many generations, and it was high time for him to get a girlfriend. During one of these thoughts, Naruko was summoned to the Hokage. Sunade said that until the end she would sit in a chair in the Hokage's office, if only this one would grow up at least a little before taking this place. By jerk, she of course meant Naruto. Naruko, what's the matter? I wanted to give you a mission with your brother, and they say you are not on good terms with him? What happened? You never quarreled. Sunade put the scroll aside. He doesn't trust me. Naruko immediately replaced her smile with an indifferent expression. What exactly? He didn't want to tell me what he had. There was something on a mission. With one girl. I learned this when I noticed hickeys on his neck after the last mission, in the hospital. And then there are scratches. What do you mean? I don't really understand you. What kind of girls? What hickeys? That's it. He didn't say anything to anyone. On the last mission, our hero was almost devoured by a tribe of healthy men. Sunade rummaged through the folder next to her right hand. Well, there's even a dossier on each of them. And Naruto's report. He himself volunteered to go on this mission alone. Savages from the eucalyptus forest in the south. A new religion, a sect madness. In general, according to the script. They had to be dispersed. I, of course, sent Sakura and Kakashi after him, but they came when Naruto was already lying unconscious in the tent, undressed, and these savages were gathering him. In general, he was on the verge of moral destruction, but thank all the gods, everything was resolved safely. Now all these idiots are in prison awaiting trial. We decided not to disclose the details of this mission, and Naruto's report should be archived any day now. After the court, of course, considers it. Oh, horror! Naruko took Naruto's report, apparently written with a trembling hand. Here, freaks. Why didn't you tell me about this before? Naruto asked, and I didn't speak. Apparently, he didn't want you to think he was weak. And almost, okay, go and make peace with him. And then both come to me, I will give you such a mission that you will cry for those savages. They set up a kindergarten for me here. Sunade shouted for greater importance. Naruko rushed home at full speed, buying Naruto's favorite instant ramen along the way to make up for her guilt. Naruto was sitting in the kitchen drinking tea when Naruko leaned on his back and placed a bag on the table in front of his nose. Naruto! Why did not you tell me? Naruko began to kiss her brother on the cheeks. I would understand. I will never consider you weak. What do you mean? Naruto stared at his sister. Those savages. Terrible. What were they going to do to you? Sunade told me everything. How could I think such a thing about you? Naruko sat on her brother's lap and hugged him. You're my brother. And Sunade? Naruto swallowed his tea and put the mug down, hugging his sister's shoulder. Yes, horror. Seeing off her brother and sister on the mission, Sunade whispered to Naruto goodbye. I settled everything. I hope you still marry Cheyenne. Chapter 8. Okay then. What do you want? I will do anything, just stop being silent. Naruto grabbed his head, spinning circles around his sister, who was sitting on the floor with fragments of a vase in her hands. This vase. Jiraiya-sensei gave it to me. And you. You fucking bore. Naruko hit her brother on the leg and sobbed. I broke it. How can that be? Do you even look where your butt is going? Just do not cry. Well, do you want me to go wash the dishes? Naruko. Naruto sank to the floor next to his sister and put his arm around her shoulder. I'll do whatever you want. I have a master friend, he will fix this vase in an instant, as if nothing had happened. Really? A lump left my throat, Naruko smiled. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief, glad that he wouldn't have to see his sister's tears. But there was one small problem. In fact, he did not know any master. And the guy also had no idea how he would glue this vase together. And when will you bring it to me? Naruko laid her head on her brother's shoulder. It's so good that I have you. Although, if it weren't for you, the vase wouldn't have broken. Well, it turned out that way. Naruto laughed and scratched the back of his head, feeling some awkwardness from having his sister so close. Then I'll go? I'll take it, okay. If you come back for dinner at the wrong time, you'll eat your ramen. As if this is a tragedy for me. Naruto shouted from his room, where he was looking for something where he could put the fragments. Lately he has often begun to upset Naruko. At first, 2 weeks ago, with hickeys on her neck, fortunately, she saved Sunade. Then he hit his sister with his hand when he was putting on his jacket in the hallway. Naruko was walking with a basin into the bathroom, and Naruto waved his hand, putting it into his sleeve, and touched Naruko. She flew into the wall and hit him hard with her shoulder. In general, at the age of 17, he was quite a bit taller than Naruko, although she claimed that her brother is the biggest. And then there was a breakthrough, and Naruto was sometimes even afraid to jokingly fight his sister. Her hand fit halfway into his palm, and he could wrap his fingers around her waist. Now it's like he's become a senior. "I'll eat you ramen!" Naruko shouted in a threatening tone. "I'll create a tragedy." Well, don't get started. I still get more from Sakura today. Yesterday I poured tea on her papers while she was visiting the sick, and disappeared out the window. So if I'm not back by dinner, tell Sunade that she's an old hag. You're so clumsy, Naruko sighed. Naruko. After a short knock, Kakashi appeared at the window. Kakashi-sensei. When will you start using doors? Naruto turned to the teacher. I came as you asked? Naruto turned to his sister. Did you ask? Yes, come in. Naruto, you seem to be in a hurry. Kakashi-sensei will help me deal with the scrolls that Sunade gave me. Naruko began to straighten her hair. What about training? Naruto looked at the teacher again. We agreed, she's only in 2 hours. In the meantime, you can visit Sakura, she said that she really wants to see you. Kakashi narrowed his eyes, apparently smiling under his mask. I'll try not to be late. Naruto left the house with an incomprehensible feeling of heaviness. The last time this happened was when he saw Naruko walking arm in arm with Shikamaru. Jealousy, anger, unpleasant, sticky feelings gripped him. He wanted to approach them and talk, but he couldn't. Immediately it seemed to him that Shikamaru had betrayed him, and Naruko did not love him. And all because he decided that Shikamaru was throwing wedges at his sister. He remembered how Naruko loved to pat Shikamaru's tailed head when he was about 12 years old. As it turned out later, Shikamaru did not plan anything like this. Naruto hadn't seen his sister with anyone, although it was high time she found herself a boyfriend. He knew that even Gaara, the impregnable Gaara, was uneasy about her. Perhaps he could trust him with his sister, but then what about himself? And each time Naruko playfully ruffled the Kazekage's hair and kissed his forehead goodbye, saying that he was her second younger brother. Who do I see? Naruto collided with Kiba, thinking about his sister. Why are we so sad, Mr. Future Hokage? Yes, here. I'm going to Sakura, Naruto muttered. Oh, she's not in a good mood today. I've been running around with some papers all morning. I just got home from Hana. There's such a commotion there. What kind of knapsack is this? Naruko broke a vase. What a morning you have. And what are you going to do with her now? I hope that Sakura will finish me off and I won't have to put the pieces back. My mood was getting worse. By the way, they say that Naruko and Kakashi have Shiramura. Is it true? Who's talking? Naruto almost fell from such news. When? Yes, I heard it when our girls were chatting nearby. Kiba shrugged. Maybe gossip. I didn't delve into it. At that time Hana's puppies were annoying me with their chatter. You call children puppies? Naruto grumbled quietly. Well, okay, I'll go, otherwise my mother will cut it into 2 parts later. Be there! Kiba patted Naruto on the shoulder, jumped onto the roof and ran away. Naruto turned around and walked back home with a firm step. Hanky-panky! Well, he'll arrange it for them now. What does this old man think about himself? No, of course, Naruto respects him, but he won't allow him. With his sister, Naruko! Naruto shouted, kicking open the front door and clinking the bag of glass fragments. Faster! Clean it up! Kakashi's muffled whisper was heard from Naruko's room. When Naruto flew into his sister's bedroom, complete idle reigned there. Naruko was pouring tea for Kakashi, while he was completely focused on studying the scrolls, supposedly scattered in creative disorder. Yes, Naruto? Naruko smiled. What's happened? Why are you screaming? What were you doing here? Naruto threw the bag with the fragments on the floor and headed towards the teacher. What are you planning, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto, Naruko coughed nervously. We are here. I told you, aha! Your mask is off. What did you do? Naruto grabbed the taken aback teacher by the shoulder. I was drinking tea, Kakashi answered, completely confused. I'll drink tea for you right now. Naruto kicked the cup and it overturned. Don't you dare even think about my sister! Naruko! Get out! Naruto, stop it! I don't understand. Naruko was truly scared. Looks like Naruko, we'll have to tell him. Kakashi slowly stood up and sighed. As always, nothing worked out. This is Naruto, what? Answer. Naruto grabbed the teacher by the darlings. We wanted to give you a gift. And you? Naruko took out a glowing shuriken from under the bed. Kakashi-sensei and I developed a special coating, oh damn. Sorry, Kakashi-sensei, I thought. Naruto let go of Kakashi and took a step back, lowering his head. Nothing. I think we will still finish this gift, and you will receive it on time. In the meantime, it's probably better for me to leave. Kakashi patted Naruto's hair, smiled and left. Rain began to patter on the roofs, the streets became gloomy due to gray clouds, and the room began to darken. Naruko stared at Naruto with huge eyes, never moving away from his unexpected appearance. Naruto exhaled noisily, patting himself on the sides. Yes, I was looking for glue. Why did you think that there was something between me and Kakashi-sensei? Well, Kiba told me that he heard from the girls. Naruko silently crawled to Naruto's feet and pulled him by the legs so that he sat next to him. I love only you, you know. The girl cupped her brother's face with her palms and looked into his eyes. I love you so much. Naruto swallowed the lump that had risen in his throat. Inside I ached with a wild feeling of love and affection for this girl. He loved her more than anything in the world, she was his life. Naruko, Naruto whispered and swallowed, breathing heavily and touching his forehead to his sister. He couldn't restrain himself. He didn't know how else to express even an ounce of the love he felt for her. Naruto kissed Naruko on the nose, on the cheek, then his lips, burning with excitement, slid to her trembling lips. I won't give you to anyone. Naruto whispered through the kiss, so unusual, hot and soothing. Naruko. The girl did not push her brother away, but only wrapped her arms around his neck and pressed herself closer to him. She had waited so long and pushed away the desire for this moment for so long. But it happened and she is happy, she wants to open her feelings. Naruto. Naruko sniffles noisily because she lacks air due to the long-awaited real kiss. Each of them felt their hearts beating wildly, reaching out to each other, and they hugged tighter. But this was not enough to calm this outburst of love. Their tongues intertwined, their breathing became common, and their lips did not want to move away for a second. Naruko closed her eyes and sobbed through the kiss. Naruto stopped and, taking his sister by the shoulders, pulled her away from him, looking into her eyes. Naruko, I'm sorry. All this is wrong. No, everything is right. I love you, and I'm so happy that I just don't know how to behave. Naruto touched Naruko's lower lip with his thumb and smiled. Now everything will be different.